A link monster is a monster with the ability to increase the number of link monsters and pendulum monsters you can summon from the extra deck. In addition to the one extra monster zone, you can also special summon link and pendulum monsters from the extra deck to any of your main monster zones that either player's link monster's red arrows points to. In order to perform a link summon, check the materials required to summon the link monster you want to summon, which is written on the card. Then, during the main phase, declare that you are going to perform a link summon. Then send a number of face-up materials from your field to the graveyard equal to the link rating of that link monster, that match the materials required listed on the monster's card. Then summon the monster to the extra monster zone, or a zone that a link monster on the field points to. All link materials must be face-up monsters. Monsters used to successfully summon a link monster are called link material. If the summon of a link monster is negated, the monsters used as material will not be considered monsters sent to the graveyard as link material. If the summon of a link monster is negated, the materials used for its link summon will not be returned to you. There is a link 1 called Clara and Rushka, and its material is one normal summoned or set monster. But that doesn't mean you can use a face-down monster. It means a monster that was originally on the field that was normal summoned or was set, but has then since been turned face up. For this video, we'll be looking at link summoning Nightmare Unicorn as our example. Its materials are 2+ monsters with different names. So we can send our face-up Cyber Dragon, our Dark Magician, and our Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring from our field to the graveyard, and then place Nightmare Unicorn from the extra deck into an open extra monster zone. Alternatively, we can summon Nightmare Unicorn to the extra monster zone by using a monster that is already in our extra monster zone, such as our Link Spider, as well as 2 other monsters to summon the Nightmare Unicorn. We can summon it to either extra monster zone, including the zone that the Link Spider was occupying. If our opponent controls one of the extra monster zones, we can only use the open one. Another way to summon our Nightmare Unicorn would be to use a Link 2 monster, such as a Nightmare Phoenix, that's already in our extra monster zone, as well as another monster, such as our Cyber Dragon. A Link 2 monster can count as either a Link 1 rating or a Link 2 rating. A Link 5 monster can count as either a Link 1 rating or a Link 5 rating. Since Nightmare Unicorn can be made using 2+ monsters, we can make it with 2 monsters, but we must still have 3 Link ratings worth of material because Nightmare Unicorn is a Link 3 monster. If there is already a Link monster already on our field pointing at one of our main monster zones, regardless of whose monster it is, we could also Link summon Nightmare Unicorn into one of our main monster zones, instead of being restricted to an extra monster zone. Some Link monsters can apply effects to itself, or on cards in the zones that it points to, or just to the monster zones that it does point to. When a Link monster's red arrows point to a monster, or when a Link monster points to another monster, both monsters are considered linked. For example, Galatea the Orcust Automaton cannot be destroyed by battle while it is linked. So while Galatea points to a monster, or another monster points to Galatea, it cannot be destroyed by battle because it is linked. When 2 Link monsters have their red arrows pointing directly at one another, they are called co-linked. If a Nightmare Phoenix and a Nightmare Cerberus are co-linked, neither can be destroyed by battle because the effect of Nightmare Phoenix says co-linked monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle, and neither can be destroyed by card effects because Cerberus says co-linked monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. Some Link monsters and some non-Link monsters have effects that apply to the zones that Link monsters point to. For instance, Parallel Exceed has an effect that allows itself to be summoned to a zone a Link monster points to when a monster is Link summoned. The Link monster Topologic Bomber Dragon has a mandatory trigger effect when a monster is summoned to a zone that it points to destroy all monsters in the main monster zones. There are many other examples, and you should do research to determine which cards you'll want to play. Link monsters do not have defense points and cannot be summoned in defense position, and can never be in defense position. Link monsters do not have levels or ranks. Card effects that must affect a monster's defense, level, or rank do not affect Link monsters. If a Link monster is summoned from a place other than the extra deck, it must be summoned to a main monster zone. The zones that this monster points to can still be used to perform Link summons from the extra deck, or pendulum summon monsters from the extra deck. If you ever want to control both extra monster zones, you must perform what is called the Extra Link. The Extra Link allows you to control both extra monster zones at the same time. To do this, you must co-link monsters through successive summons such that the last monster summoned to the extra monster zone will be co-linked all the way across to the first monster. In the next video, we will learn about pendulum summoning, as link points needed to be understood before we learned about them.